Welcome into the era of AI. Hello and welcome. In this lecture, I'd like to introduce you to CapCut. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it. So what exactly is CapCut? CapCut, surprisingly, was created by the very company that is responsible for creating TikTok. It was released in May 2019 by ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok, according to Wikipedia. And of course, this is true data. And they created this software. They made it free. By the way, I can honestly tell you, I've used Adobe Premiere Pro, I've used Camtasia, I've used OBS, I've used the whole video editing tools that you can think of. I can honestly tell you, CapCut is very comparable to, if not even better and more user-friendly and easier for beginners than Adobe Premiere. And the thing is, or the surprising thing, is that it is for free. Why is it for free? Very simple. Normally, the effects and the transitions and everything that is available inside of CapCut, normally for someone who thinks logically, that stuff shouldn't be free. Normally, it's illegal, right? That it should be free. I'm telling you this because it's just, for example, if you wanted to add a glitch transition in Adobe Premiere, you need to go and, of course, do a lot of things before you can create your transition, and there's a lot of variables. With CapCut, these transitions are available for free and you can use them. All right. And they made it so because it's the parent company of TikTok and because it's encouraging a lot of people to create more TikTok videos. So they invested in creating, in my opinion, the second best video editor. Of course, Adobe Premiere is still a level above CapCut. For professional video editors, of course, would know this. But CapCut, for those of you that don't really want to know, want to learn, take a 40-hour course about Adobe Premiere in order to master it, CapCut doesn't really take that much to master. Actually, there's nothing about it to master. It's just easy, user-friendly, comprehensible. There's a lot of resources about it. And you can download it by going to Google, searching for CapCut. Please, one big disclaimer. Do not download CapCut from any other website besides CapCut.com, because we've had a lot of people on the internet that have downloaded false versions of CapCut from suspicious websites who claimed that they would give them the real version of CapCut, but they ended up downloading ransomware to their computer. First and foremost, if you're always downloading stuff to your computer, be careful about the source. Secondly, an antivirus is a must. It's an absolute must. There's no debate about this. Invest in an antivirus, a monthly membership. It protects you, protects your computer. You will lose a lot if someone gets access to your computer and gets access to your files, as opposed to what you're going to invest, like a $10, $20 investment per month in an antivirus. So think about this, because an antivirus always scans the files that you download. If there's something wrong, it tells you, look, I'm not going to download this. It pauses the download. It tells you, no, I'm not downloading this because there's some virus here. There's a ransomware. And I'm using McAfee, and I'm telling you, only go to CapCut.com, nothing else but CapCut.com. And usually you'll find a snippet in Google that says download CapCut for desktop. And this is pretty much it. If you go to CapCut.com, here, there's this link. You can click it. Please don't trust any of these websites besides CapCut.com. It's at your own responsibility and risk. There's a lot of people that have compromised their computers because of downloading CapCut from other countries, from other websites that are suspicious. So this is pretty much it. Now, once you download CapCut, you should be able to open it by searching for it on your computer, and it should look something like this. Now, you can actually click to create a project, in which case it's going to open up CapCut. Please don't worry about it. It's not so difficult. At the end of this, I promise, you're going to generate your AI movie and you're going to enjoy it, right? So here, when CapCut opens, this is what it looks like. So let me explain everything in detail here. First thing is first, here, this area right here, this little square right here, is where you can put your videos, your audios, and everything else. So we'll start there, right? So I'm going to click on the import button because you have to. And then I'll actually go ahead and grab one of the videos that I have. So for instance, here we have this scene of the Ferrari, if you remember it. Now this is a 3-second scene. You can see it adds over there. And one thing here, if you want to organize your work, once you add your first file into CapCut, you will be allowed to right-click and click on this new folder button, which allows you to create a folder. And you can rename that folder. For example, you can name it Scene 1, so that you can organize your work in files and you can save. And basically, you can take this scene of the Ferrari, you can drag it inside of that file, and you can go inside of that file, and now there is the scene of the Ferrari. And this way, you organize your work into files instead of organizing it in a random way. Now here, for instance, if you want to add this to the editor, all you need to do is to grab it like this and drag and drop it. Now, once you drag and drop it here, you will immediately drag and drop it into the cover. The cover is generally this. And for one thing here that you have to know, videos always go from the cover. So this is the cover axis. See it? Videos always occupy the cover axis to the top. Audios are bottom of the cover axis. Now this video has an audio. We can listen to it. Now let's say you want to extract that audio from the video itself. You can right-click on the video, just right-click on it like this. Click on the extract button, and there you have it. Your audio is going to be extracted, and guess where it will be? Under the cover. If you try to take the audio over or on top of the cover, it's not going to work. It's always going to push it back down. As a matter of fact, let's try this right now. So this is the audio. Let's try to move it to the top. You can see it moves back down. It moves back down of the cover. Now, when I take this cover video and I move it to the top, you can see it moves because that's a video. So you can move it anywhere you want here. Well, actually, at least above the cover. And you need more scenes for you to be able to add more to the top. Now, here are a couple of tools that you have to know about CapCut. Now, you can cut scenes, just like cutting butter with a knife. So, for example, if let's say you want to cut this scene up to this point, you want to take this left part and you want to maybe delete it or move it, you can click on this cutter here, the split. Make sure you're clicking on your scene. And guess what? This is a cut piece. If I place it anywhere here in the same level of the cover, it will snap right back. That is because we have activated. This is activated by default. It's called the magnet. If you click on this little magnet and deactivate it, if you move the scene, now it will not snap back, even if it's on the same level. Guess what? Look at the magic. If I activate the magnet, watch this. It goes right back in. Now, here, there are other cutters which we're not going to discuss. I think this one is good enough. Now, when it comes to these other effects, these are just some effects. So, for instance, this is called the reverse effect. By the way, if you want to go back in time, and if you want to undo anything, just click right here, and you can see that we can go back in time. It's traveling back in time, and back and forth again if you want to go reverse to the other side. And let's say that you split a scene, and then you made up your mind. You want to compound that scene. You can either go back in time, back when the scene was not split, but let's say you cannot go back in time. You don't have that option because you've added a lot of scenes afterwards. You can just select both of these scenes that you want to glue together, right-click, and you can click here on Create Compound Clip, in which case now this is going to be one big scene, and it's going to be glued together, as you can see here. And you can then again cut it again, if you want to cut it again. Now here on the right-hand side, first of all, before going there, here you can actually delete a scene by clicking. You can go back. You can actually hide a scene by hiding it, which is not going to show it. You can actually mute a track. For example, if you want to mute any track on this layer, because it functions like this. It functions horizontally like this. If I actually zoom out a bit more, all of this. If you click mute, it's going to mute everything here. And to show you this best, if I actually click on lock, it's going to show you where it extends. So everything in this perimeter and the surface is impacted by changes made from here. Now, this is the voiceover, or the audio that we've separated from the video. If you want to listen to the audio, you can listen to it like this. But if let's say you want to mute this track, you can mute it. And guess what? Right now, if I play the video, there's no track. And you can go back to the track again, and you can actually unmute. Here, you can use these tools here, such as the marker effect, the freeze effect, the reverse effect. If you click on reverse, what's going to happen is that it's going to reverse the Ferrari on the other side. So it's going to flip the video. When I say flip the video, it's going to flip. So for example, if you're walking forwards, or if someone is walking forwards in a scene, if you click on the reverse option, it's going to actually make that person walk backwards, not forwards, right? So that's quite fun. And we can actually unmute so that you can see how this is done. So let's unmute the track, or mute the track. And now you see that it's going backwards. Instead of zooming in, it's zooming out. And if I actually click on that video and actually go over here and click back to reverse again, now it's going to zoom in instead of zooming out. Watch this. So it's zooming in, all right? And that's something you can do if you want. Now, there's another option here, which is called the mirror option. If you click, this is going to mirror your scene in onto the other side, right? Every time you click it, it mirrors the scene. You can rotate your scene by clicking rotate. And then you can basically resize your scene if you want to resize it, which I'm not going to. You can control the ratio of your scenes by clicking here. So if you want this to be 4 by 3 inches instead of 16 by 9 inches, you can do so. If you want it to be 9 by 16 inches, you can do so, and so on and so forth. So you can control size. I'm going to get it back to 16 by 9 inches. Now, other things that you can do with these particular scenes here is very important. Now here, for instance, you can record yourself talking. If you click on voiceover here, it's going to record. Obviously, I'm recording right now, so I cannot do it. Now, I want to show you some incredible tricks here. So let's say you want to make this scene smaller in size. You can scale it back and forth. Of course, make sure you select it. Select the scene that you want to edit. And here there's this scaling option. It enables you to scale back and forth, back and forth. Let me show you an interesting tip here. Now, I'm going to go back to about 100%. There it is. You can type it here. Now, I want to add an animation here. So I want to add a animation, a zoom animation. Now, I'm going to click here on this scene. Now, let me go back, for instance, for a second here. I'm going to click on this scene. I would like to add this keyframe. So click on Add Keyframe. What that does, if you zoom in, you see that there's a little dot over there that has been added. That's what we call a keyframe. I can move a tiny bit more after the keyframe, and I can add another keyframe. And this time for the other keyframe, I can scale it like that. And then I can zoom out a bit. I can move a little bit more, add another keyframe, and zoom even more. And now I can move a little bit more, add another keyframe, and start zooming back. And then I can add another keyframe and then also start zooming back. And guess what's going to happen right now? From this moment of the first keyframe, which is here, there's going to be a weird animation happening. So watch this. You can see that kind of animation that happens. So that you can add it sometimes to add an emphasis on a boxing punch, for example. If someone is punching someone in a boxing punch, you can add that effect on in your shorts to make it look like the world was shattered. That person was feeling like the earth there's a trembling. You can also use the blend feature. Now, if you click on the blend feature here, it's going to activate it. Now, it's already activated by default. This enables you to control the opacity of your clip. Now, you must be asking, well, what is it? How is this useful? This is useful. Let me show you. So if I were to actually go ahead, and it's useful to also create what we call transitions. But I'm going to show you an interesting tip here. I'm going to actually, first of all, move my needle back here. Click on this scene. Control-C to copy. Now, this that's moving around, it's because we have enabled it. So it's called the preview axis. If you turn it off, there is no longer any preview axis. If you turn it on, there is a preview axis. And the preview axis can be quite handy. Because, for example, I've clicked on Control-C, which means I copied this scene. If I move the preview axis by hovering over, if I click Control-V, guess where it's going to copy-paste it? It's going to copy-paste it at the moment of the beginning of the preview axis. And I can always bring it back. Now, the magnet only works below. It works in the cover. It doesn't work here. So if I move the scene around here, Even though the magnet is active, it doesn't work for that, but it works for this one because it's in the cover. Now, there is a scene on top of another scene. Let me show you a trick. Now, I'm going to take the above scene, and I'm going to go to the opacity. I'm going to switch it to 50. All right? Now, I switched the opacity of the above scene to 50. And then I would like you to click on the mirror effect, which is going to mirror the Ferrari onto the other side. And guess what that creates? It creates an illusion effect, like this, as you can see. I can also be a bit smarter. I can actually mirror it again back where it was. And because there's a scene on top of another scene, you don't see anything. But if I actually rotate this, if I rotate this on top, you can see that right now, all of a sudden, we can see one Ferrari on top and one Ferrari below. And you can actually take the scene, the other scene as well, decrease its transparency a bit. Now, let me show you a trick here. Now, what would you tell is the scene that has authority over the other? The above or below? Now, the above scene has now 50 opacity, 50%. If I were to increase it to 100%, you can see that the other scene below no longer appears. It's because this is how the hierarchy works in video editing. The scene that's above always shows before the scene that's below. Let me give you a clue. If I move this scene slightly, automatically the scene that shows now is the scene below because there's no scene above it. But as soon as I move the needle here, the scene that shows is the scene that's above. It's the one that has the priority. Now, there's a lot of other elements, by the way. There's a lot of things I can show you. There's the speed element. There's, for example, let me take this scene away by clicking here and deleting it. You can hit enter or you can right click on the scene and just simply delete it. Now, if you want to speed up this scene, you can actually speed it up. And notice it's going to shrink in size, but it's going to be sped up. And you can actually also slow it down. When you slow it down by going to the speed, if you slow it down, it gets more because it has more size now. But it's much slower, as you can see. And you can always toggle back and forth between 1x speed and more. You can also control the duration. So for example, if I make this 10 seconds, automatically I'm going to slow it down by a lot, right? And that's also some way you can slow it down, and I can just get it back to the initial speed. You can also do the same thing for audio. You can also speed up the audios. Now with the audios, you also get access to the voice changer if you'd like to change your voice to a hacker voice or a synth voice or an echo voice. There's a lot of things you can do. And then, of course, there's audios if you want audios. Obviously, we're not going to use audios from here. We're going to get our audios from Pixabay. But you can search for any audio that you want. Music, audio, whatever it is that you want. For example, let's say you're searching for the sound of explosion. Explosion. If you search for explosion, you're going to find music. First of all, this is music. So I need to set it up to sound effect first. And then I can now search for explosion, sound effect. If I were to hit enter, watch this. We're going to get a lot of results, copyright free, of explosion sounds. And guess what? You can actually take this explosion, drag it over here, and now it's a part of your scene. And so if I play the scene back, it plays the explosion. And guess what? You can actually even tone it down. You can control the explosion audio by toggling back and forth here, by holding this cursor, moving up and down. The more you go down, the less the audio size is. You can see that it reduced considerably. And the more you increase it, the heavier it would be. Like that. And of course, there's effects that go along with effects that go along with sound effects. So if you click on effects right here, you can go ahead and search for an explosion effect. So if I search for explosion, because there's an explosion sound effect, it's only logical that we show an effect of that. There's a bunch of explosions here. So for example, you can go with this one. It's pretty cool. And you can place it at the very moment where the explosion sound spikes. And you can actually control the size of how much you want to show that effect for. And for example, if I click here, I can actually reduce the size of the explosion sound. And watch this now. This is going to be very different. So I'm going to play it from here. and you can see that it matches. Now, there's a lot of effects, which we don't have the time to go through all of them. We're only going to be using effects for the intro and outro, as well as some glitch effects, which we're going to discuss later. As far as transitions, they are what make a transition between every scene. So let me show you an example. I'm going to click on this scene, click Control-C to copy it, move my needle at the end of that scene, and click Control-V to add that. Now, transitions can only happen between scenes on the same level. So this has to go down right here and be on the same level of that one. Let's say you want to, well, first of all, let's take the explosion away. Let's take this effect away. And let's say you want to add a glitch transition. Click on transitions. You can search, but you can also click on the transitions from here. They're by category. If you want to add a glitch transitions, there's a lot. I'm going to select this glitch, place it here between these scenes. Obviously, these scenes are too small for a transition, but for me, it's 4 seconds minimum. These are actually, I think, 3 seconds. But here you can see that there is a transition. And if we watch this, there's a transition happening. But there is no sound effect. Now, if you go to audio, you can go ahead and look for glitch sound effect. There is such a thing as a glitch sound effect. And these sound effects are pretty useful. So for example, if I click this one, or this one, or this one, or this one, this one, UFO, glitch sound. Obviously, all of these glitch sounds are not really cool. That's why I like to use Pixabay. But generally speaking, you drag any one of these glitch noises or sounds. For example, this one, you can place it here. And you can place it for just enough, as long or as soon as for just enough to add the effect. So for example, I can cut this by clicking here, and there's the excess. I can get rid of it by right-clicking here and clicking delete. Or in order to make it faster, you can just hit enter. And guess what right now? You can see that at least adds a glitch to showcase that there is some noise over there. Now, of course, there's a lot of things. There's adjustments. We're going to go through these things when we need them, captions. But now you're more than equipped with pretty much everything you need to follow along when we are working on the project. Wishing you the best and nothing but the best as always. Passive Income Gen Z, signing out.